How y'all doing? You okay? Okay. Welcome everybody. My name is Mikey Mhenna. I run an organization called Afikra. One of the things that organization does is publish a podcast called Quarter Tones, which explores what music from and of the Arab world did, does, and might sound like in the future. Damn, who knows damn? Just like round of applause. Okay. So Damn has, as a group, has very much helped define what Arab hip hop sounds like, and might sound like in the future. So it's a huge honor to have both Tamer and Maysa on the series. Thank you so much for joining. One of the features of Quarter Tones as a podcast is that we play a bunch of the music and we talk about it like an old school radio show. So we have them all queued up. So we're going to start the conversation with a behind the scenes, and then we'll jump into it. Okay? You're allowed to pick up your microphones. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. So we are going to, who here has heard of the city Lyd? Just to understand. All right, Lyd in the building. Okay. So we are going to get a little bit behind the scenes, and then I want you guys to talk to me about making this. And Tamer, we'll start with you. So let's just watch a little bit of the behind the scenes of this.
الساعة تقريبا 11 10 11 وثلث بالليل. اخترنا الساعات هاي عشان ما حدش يوقفنا.
تعال هون.
دايما من كناس اللي قبل فوق الجيران. عملنا بدنا نورجي هويتنا وهذا شيء ضروري إلنا. تيك تاك توك تيك تاك تيك ابني اللي مش تكنيك جيب سابو فير ما بطلع إلى فيش مجنيز تيك تاك توك. يا محمد جايين نعمل ريهانا، جايين نعمل فاكينج توباك، جايين نعمل كندريك، جايين نعمل أشياء اللي هي بترفع الراس. تمام؟ ممكن يفشل، ممكن كله يقعد، عشان هيك بنوقف ثاني يوم بنوقف على اجرينا. هلا بيك وتفضل ولا يغرك شيك المنظر. بنشيل التاريخ بنشيل الارض بنشيل المريخ ونتحمل. هلا بيك في الدراما في الاكشن. انه في علينا مليون عين. اي بوليس هذا الثالث ولا الرابع؟ ثالث. بقديش؟ ب1000 ساعة. بشرفك ايش جاي تشتري؟ مبينين ولا مش مبينين؟ مبينين عندك الكاميرا ده شيء مبينين؟ ايش جايين يشتروا؟ من غير رقم السيارة، ايش جايين يشتروا؟ ناس جاي تعمل فن. هاي هدي تنحبس اذا بتعمل فن، تنحبسش اذا بتسمع. بدي اشتغل عند موشه اليوم عندنا موشه يشتغل. لا وانا لا يشتغل. مش شرطين انت هيك اسمع بنطلع شوط اخو منيوكا كمل. اسال عني برستيج وان سالك عني البوليس ما شفتنيش. نكرهش البوليس لنا جانجسترز، نكرهه لانه عنصري بين 60 تعريض. والحبايب نكرهش البوليس لنا جانجسترز، نكرهه لانه عنصري بين 60 تعريض.
I'm going to stop here for a bit. Okay. Tamer, walk me through the day you shot that and why Ibn al-Lid is like a useful or important title for people to understand what it's like to grow up in Lid.
First of all, it's very important. مرحبا للجميع سلام. It's very important for me to say when I said we are not here to do Rihanna, it was before Rihanna's Super Bowl. So I would have changed it back then. That was a year ago. There's a lot of things to say. That was a year ago, and around 6 or 8 cops tried to stop the video, but they couldn't legally. But the funny thing is now we live in a different situation. A week ago, I went to shoot 5 videos in one day, and police came and they stopped the shooting and they took the song and they start playing the song just to check if we are allowed to continue to shoot it or not. So it's changing. A lot to say about this song. What was the question?
Ibn al-Lid.
When I did it a year ago, it's first of all, it's something that every rapper does. It's Brooklyn in the house, or New Orleans, or so. I wanted to represent my city. And normally, when people talk about Palestine, for them it's Gaza, it's the West Bank. But but for me, I need to represent my city, and that was very important. And this is where Arabic hip-hop started as well.
So for people who don't even know where Lyd is,
It's in Israel.
yeah. So, but the history of Lyd is important. And maybe just give us a little bit of the history of the sort of economic conditions of Lyd, why it's in so many ways been sort of like a birthplace of protest movements.
Yeah, Lyd was a Palestinian city until 1948, and now it's I think around 70-80% Jews and 20% Palestinians. Not from Lyd, most of the Palestinians. Like you hardly have 5 Lyd families in Lyd. The rest are were displaced from different places in Palestine. Because it's the face of the country, because this is where the Ben Gurion airport is. It used to be called Matar al-Lyd, the airport of Lyd, before they changed it to Tel Aviv. So they really took care of that city to Judaize it. To Judaize it as much as they can. And that led into cornering the Palestinians living there in ghettos, and that led to crime and drugs. And until certain years, Lyd was the biggest drug market in the Middle East. And actually, this is what made me connect with hip hop, with Tupac, and it's just like watching him on screen. It's like looking from outside of the window. So that made the whole layers of hip hop.
Yeah. Okay. Before we keep on going, I want to bring in, I want to play another song from the last album. And Maysa, I want to hear what it's been like being involved on the last album. So actually, before we even play the song, how has it felt being in many ways like the main face of Damn? Like literally your face is on the album.
Weird, I have to say.
Yeah.
Very weird. For me, I have to say, first of all, that when I was a kid, I used to listen a lot to Dam's music and Dam's songs. It was way before I joined the band. And it was, at that time, it was, I think, basically the only music in Arabic that I was listening to at that age. And being able to work with the guys and being the face on the album by itself is very weird for me. We had a whole discussion about it actually, and it was Tamer's idea, and I was like, it's weird for me to be in the front, and he's like, no, you need to be there, and I'm like, okay, but it's weird, and he's like, you're gonna be there, and that's how it happened. But for me, what I would really like to say more than being in the front is that the process of working on the album was really life-changing for me. Because it made me realize so many things. It made me think in a different way. It made me see things and see my life in a different way. And as Tamer was talking, like representing what is called the Arab 48 and the cities in the 48, and being able to talk about that, to understand the whole thing around it, it was really one of the most important experiences for me working on it. It really opened up my mind a lot.
Let's listen to a little bit, and then I want to come back to what it's like right now. So let's listen to a little bit of, this is off the latest album.
ولا ليرة ولا بيتكوين سلطنة وش بدكم انت نجوزك يما انت نتركز يما انت نجوزك يما والبنك يتصلي امتى نتيجي عنا Don't worry انا اوكي كله مظبط كله مصوقي Don't worry انا اوكي بلا هالمشكنتة ومتخوزة
7 الارمات ديك بدق عالباب وانا تحت الحاف امي عالبلكون جيرتي دبري عريس احصائيات اغلب الازواج بتنامش على نفس الفراش امي عالايفون سيري زبطي عريس قوله لابن الحلال يستنى لانه العالم عم بستناني بلاقي شريكي بعد ما الاقي حالي حاليا بصحتي العزوبيه صباح الظهريه المرخيه
انت نجوزك يما انت نتركز يما انت نجوزك تصلي امتى تيجي عنا Don't worry أنا أوكي كله مظبط كله مسوقي
Okay.
Don't worry أنا أوكي
سؤال مهم والله سؤال مهم. So as I was listening to this, I was thinking about language a lot. نحن we're speaking English. Dam has recorded music in English, in Arabic, and Hebrew. How do you think about language when you write songs like this? Who are you speaking to in this song?
First of all, that song took 5 minutes to write, and it took a year to convince Maysa that we want it in the album.
I
She
really
was-
didn't want this song. Yeah. I'm really happy they convinced me to do it because now I'm completely in love with it. But I really didn't want it because it felt weird for me because mainly like growing up on Dam's music, they were always like this really hip hop, like, you know, old school hardcore. And when we started working on the album and listening to different beats and different styles, for me, this was like it didn't make sense to have like a Dam song which is like, you know, so dancey. And way before we knew what the subject was, way before we wrote the lyrics, just the music itself. So yeah, as Tamer said,
Yeah, for me it was the meaning of keeping it real. Because for me, for example, I'm a human being. I do have an issue called occupation, so I write about that. I do have an issue about women's rights, so I'm gonna write about that. But in between, I do have fun. I get drunk, I party, I go to weddings. So this is what keeping it real for me. And while performing with a lot of rappers, when we were backstage, we were discussing soccer, we were discussing how beautiful, I don't know, have you seen the last photo of Kim Kardashian, whatever. This is what we talk. And then when we go on stage, we all like free Palestine. I was like, I just want to keep it real. I do want to say free, but also I want to have these things. And I love commercial stuff. I really like making people. This is how I calculate it, because I get phone calls when people mention you on the stories. They mention me in one story or mention them in one story holding a sign in a demonstration, and in the next story they mention us in a wedding dancing. And music is emotions, and I want to be with كل emotions. In can sadness, in can that was very important for me to do commercial stuff.
yeah, this is actually what convinced me, like exactly what he said is what convinced me to have this song. And I was talking before about the process of working on the album, which made me realize like how many psychological barriers I have for myself in like what I allow myself to write about and what I don't allow myself to write about, because I always had, and most of the Palestinian artists, and not only in Palestine, but most of us have this feel that we need to make something political all the way, because it kind of feels weird to not do that. And we end up treating ourselves not as humans, but as, you know, just one specific thing. And when Tamer told me exactly what he said, it was like, for me, like something opened, because I realized like, yeah, we have a lot of difficulties, and yeah, we have a lot of things that we need to say, but at the same time, it's really important to like be true and to look at ourselves as humans and the whole spectrum of what being human is, while being sad and being angry and being happy, and all of the things together.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like you're imprisoning your creativity to just say, okay, this is the only thing I'm allowed to do. Yeah. As a Palestinian, I can't talk about anything but this. Like, I can't have a crush. I can't want to get married or be sick of people telling me I'm supposed to get married, right?
But this is insane, because without noticing, if it was like, no, because when we did that, a lot of people sent me, what about the cause? What about Palestine? And it's insane, because it makes you feel that, okay, so now I'm looking at the occupation as my drive, as an inspiration to be creative. I need to redefine the relationship من جديد يعني. And then if you look at it after that, it's like, okay, so if the occupation ends, that means Palestinian hip-hop is not relevant, so maybe it shouldn't end because I need this job. It's just, yeah, it's just finding that balance. And
it's like, the implication is you're benefiting from it. Yeah, which is like super heavy. That's
No, it's a barrier. It's heavy, and I don't want it as a drive. It's a brake. It's not a drive, yani.
And it's also hard to like look at this as the only thing that can keep you going. Like Tamer, you always said like that you were wondering like if you would be born somewhere else, would you still be as good of a writer or a rapper or things like that? And we really would like to believe that we do, because we love what we do and we love the music that we do, and it's important to be able to like be not only that but everything around it as well.
It's a heavy question to ask yourself after a long career. It's like, am I a geographical talent? It's just, am I? Or it's, so it's, as I said, disconnecting yourself from.
I want to come back to the issue of language. I mean, maybe this is not a great representation about
It is because we use Arabic, Hebrew, and English in that song. Actually, we say.
Yeah, so walk me through that. Like, I think a lot of people, I was surprised when I first realized that you said it a couple days ago. You're like, I won the award for best lyricist in
Hebrew.
in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Which is mind blowing, right? When do you choose what to speak, and how is that related to who you're speaking to?
The word we used here was mashkanta. That's بلا هالمشكنتا متخوزة. Mashkanta means mortgage. We don't have that word in Arabic where we live, because if you want to have a mortgage, you go to the Israeli bank and you ask for mashkanta. So that's the word that everyone knows where we live. I don't even know how you say it in Arabic الصراحة. So how do you say mortgage في العربي؟ لا قرض هذا debt هذا عام. Is a loan card, yeah. Mashkanta is different. Anyway, so my father and my neighbors, everyone's like, I'm going to the bank, بروح أخذ mashkanta. So it's a very popular word. And it has a lot of political layers to it. It's that's why we used it here. There was a big question though at the beginning, ولا ليرة, what a Bitcoin? Because at the first recording it was ولا shekel. Shekel is the Israel. But then we said, no, it's too local. Lira also works. So that was part of the decisions, yani. And I think Msoger, I think it's also كمان. I think Msoger is Sagur. Sagur is closed in Hebrew. And Msoger is we took it and we made it فعل عربي. Msoger. So it's a slang as well. But that's the beauty. Some guy said it, I think an Algerian guy said it, when they use French, and he said, اللغة هي غنيمة الحرب. Help me out. اللغة هي غنيمة الحرب. إيش غنيمة بالإنجليزي؟
The spoils of war.
Spoils? When you, yeah. Is it? So yeah, it's the spoils of war. When you, and I think it's strength. And I this is how I explain it. يعني I speak 3 languages. I make love in Arabic. I work in Hebrew, and I speak 3 languages. All of them are rap. That's how
I talk shit in English. There you go.
I think regarding the language is
Yeah.
also, it depends a lot on the song that we are writing and the subject of the song. And sometimes when we're talking about something that is very local, like Ibn al-Lid has, if I'm not mistaking, a lot of Hebrew words in it, or like
I think it does.
Yeah,
مش
so
تكناز, that's in the hook.
مش تكناز,
Ibn al-Lid
yeah.
مش تكناز. You have that. Ashkenazi, the European Jews, they call them Ashkenaz. مش تكناز is the verb of it. يعني I didn't become. It's not like I didn't become they didn't systemize. I didn't become part of the system. Ibn al-Lid مش تكناز. جيب subwoofer is the subwoofer you put. We call it subwoofer. جيب subwoofer. ما بطلع إذا فيش مغناز. Magnez is the rims. So you can bring the subwoofer, and I'm not going to ride any car if it doesn't have rims on it. We call it magnez in the lid. So it does have Hebrew.
Yeah, and it does have a lot, and I think it depends a lot on the song, because when you're writing a song like Ibn al-Lid, which is very local, which is like in the city where you live, like Hebrew is a huge part of it, like whether we want it or not. And a lot of times, like the way to describe how it is exactly, you would use these words. Like for me, English is different, because English I use it when I want to say something to a broader audience. But even then, it's not always like that because you have Arabic and we put subtitles. But I think when it's a song more like this, even though we do have like a Hebrew word, but it's when it's a song that is like more, let's say, mainstream or something like that, or that we want like more people to relate to it, we would use more Arabic words. And when it's more local, then like that's the street language that we use.
Okay, I want to play another one. I want to play. I think it's Overdose. Hold on. One of these, not Overdose. I think it's this one. Let's play this.
تسعين ستين تسعين 175 على 50 90 صدر 60 خصر 90 فخاد 175 طول على 50 وزن هدول مقاييس جسدك لازم يسموها جسدكهم الكاف تعود إلك وجسدك يعود إلهم روح حرة داخل جسد غير حر أخذ لي وقت أفهم جسدي الأنثوي جسدك بيروح بينام بغيب بغلط بيتوب من سامح وبرجع بعيد للأبد ماشي مع ورقة تصريح من الطبيب جسدي بكفي غلطة وحدة انزلاق واحد صورة واحدة فيديو واحد كم من عين في عجسدي كم من وجه في لجسدي جسدي أنثوي جسدي عربي جسدي العربي الأنثوي كم ضمير في لجسدي في أنا وفي أنت في إحنا وفي همي هم ضد إحنا وأنت ضد أنا الكل ضد أنا وأنا ضد الكل حتى بالنضال عندي أضعاف من مسؤوليتكم إذا أنت بتقاوم بتمس في صهيونيتهم إذا أنا بقاوم بمس كمان بذكوريتهم وقد ما جسدي واعي للقهر بضل قابل للكسر أخذ لي وقت أتعلم أعشق جسدي الأنثوي العربي وقف قبل المراي خلعت عن عيوني النظارات الاجتماعية لأنهم صنع ذكوري بدي أشوف عيوبي طريق عيوني ضب عيونك هذا النهد إلي ضب إيديك هذا الفخد إلي ضب ملاحظاتك شعر الإيدين وشعر تحت الأباط بس إلي سيطر على تعبير وجهك هدول الكم إكسترا كيلو إلي السيلوليت إلي تشققات الجلد علامات الحمل بس إلي الشاب التواليل الشمات اللي وراك الحبوب كله بس إلي هذا المطبخ مش بس إلي بس هذا الزيت هذا الزعتر والعكوب إلي بشرة القمحية إلي وهاي العيون إلي لأول مرة بشوف عيوني طريق عيوني 42 200 120 على 136 42 مليون مرة تاجروا في جسدي 200 مليون مرة ختنوني وأخذوا مسؤولية على جسدي 120 مليون مرة اغتصبوا جسدي 136 مليون ولادة بالسنة وهاي الحياة بس من جسدي.
So good. Maysa, how does that feel watching people watch this? Or like, how does it feel when you
love it.
Yeah, tell me. It's such a powerful song.
Thank you. I love watching people watch it because it's always different reactions and everybody, like some people relate to it, some people it makes them mad, and I just love to see like which parts those are like that makes
What do people get mad about?
A lot of people don't get mad because they don't get it because they feel like we're using here like a very like a not لغة مش حلوة يعني like a
Vulgar.
yeah, like a vulgar language, and a lot of people, especially men, think we're exaggerating a lot in this piece. And actually, one of the best comments I had on this one is a guy I know. He's from Ramallah, and who also does rap. And the first few months when it was out, he was like, "I need to tell you something." I'm like, "Yeah," and he said, I listened to Jasadikkum. I liked it. I have to tell you the truth that when it got to the part like dub عيونك dub إيديك, I thought it was too much, and I didn't know, like I thought you were like just using things just to make it bigger. And then he showed it to his sister and his mom, which are both religious with a hijab, and he played the song for them. And he said his mom had goosebumps all over, and his sister couldn't take his eyes off. And then he told me, okay, now like after that I understood like that this is what it is, and it's not exaggeration. And I think I think we really did a great job in portraying many different things in this song, and the process of writing it was we wrote it. I can't take credit for the lyrics here. We wrote it together. It was actually Tamer was reading a book at that time by Ta-Nehisi quotes. How is it called?
Between
the World and Me.
I think.
And he got us all copies, and he was like, "Hey, read this, and if there's anything that you can relate to, let's talk about it." And I read the book. It's amazing. If you don't know it, please do read it. It's an amazing book. And that's how the song came to be. So the idea there was how it is to live in a black person's body in the United States. And here we took it to the idea of how it is to live in a Palestinian female body in Palestine under the occupation.
You know, there's like this term intersectionality, right? Which talks about, and Ta-Nehisi Coates talks about intersectionality a lot. This idea that different movements intersect each other in all these different ways. And the fight for women's rights is a transnational fight, right? I'm curious if a song like this resonates across places where they don't typically support Palestinian rights in a way that may have surprised you.
I think in a feminist way, yes. Like if we're related, if
Yeah.
I understood the
Yeah,
question
yeah.
correctly. In a feminist way, yes, because it talks mainly about that. Yes, it's more specific to being Palestinian, but not only, because this issue is not only Middle Eastern. This is everywhere in the world. Like women are having like really hard time, and you know, we don't have to explain that, but a lot of people, huh? أي واحد كل واحد ودوره how was it أنا كل واحد ودوره أنا بعالج قضية الشرف وأنت عالج عندكم صناعة البورنو. So this is like, it comes in different ways, but it is everywhere in the world. I love that sentence so much. And and yeah, so a lot of people can relate to it. Not a lot of people can relate to the political part of it, which is like إذا أنت بتقاوم بتمس في صهيونيتهم، إذا أنا بقاوم بمس بذكوريتهم, which is something that is really not talked about enough, I have to say, especially in terms of Palestine and struggles in general, because women always have a harder time. Sadly, there's a lot of expected of men, and that is true, and there's a lot of difficulties that is only for men, but then women, they go through it differently. You know, the sign of weakness or the sign of like strength between the armies is raping. If you rape that woman in front of her father, brother, whatever, it's a sign of strength. If you do this and that, it's like always the women are the ones that are being, not only, but they are being like, yeah, exactly. And a lot of that is not even talked about. Like if we want to talk about the war going on now, like there's a lot to talk about, but nobody's talking about millions of women that are having their periods and don't have pads. They're not talking about women that are having, need special care or need like are having babies or having that. It's talked about not enough. And yeah, and I think a lot of things could be related to differently. It depends really on where you're from and where you are.
Do you feel like your ability to talk about it reaches people's ears outside of your immediate community?
I really hope so. I really do. I think some people understand. I think people want to understand. They don't completely get it, but their mind is open. And I think some people have their minds made, and it's really hard to like knock in there and go in and try to talk with. But I think, yeah, I mean, I hope that at least a good amount of people are able to receive that.
Yeah, like I always think about this, like with Afikra, I'm always amazed at how many silos we have. Like we're all in tiny little boxes. Like people in Egypt don't know what's going on in Libya, and people in Libya don't know what's going on in Tunis, and people in Tunis have no fucking clue what's happening in Ramallah. And hatta, I feel like people in Ramallah don't always know what's happening in Lyd, and people in Gaza may not know what's happening in Beirut, and definitely vice versa. And like, you guys are talking about things that elicit ideas of solidarity, right? They're like begging for solidarity. Like, hey, like, please, can you hear us? are people hearing you? Do you feel like Tamer, like you've been doing this? You go to your YouTube channel. There's like videos from like 15 years ago, 16 years ago, and that's like when YouTube started. So you've been doing it for much longer than that. Do people hear you outside of your community?
My career is 24 years old, so yeah, I've been doing it. Yeah, I think. First, you can know by the views, and now you can know by every year Spotify will send you and will tell you how. So yeah, of course. Now we live in a blessed. Artists are living in one of the most interesting and great periods of time where you are in control and you are in touch with your audience, and you know that you know, if I'm going to do a show in Berlin, I already know that I have 20,000 people listening to me, for example. So I know how to hit it. So yeah, of course. And I'd say outside of the community, yes, when I do it in English. In Arabic, it's harder because I carry an Israeli passport, so there is no way for me to perform in Beirut, for example. But يعني, when I do stuff in English, yeah, it did open doors for me to do more shows, not just to Arabs, because I've been performing like with Omar here. We just spoke about it. We raised memories. I've been performing in the US since like 10, 15 years, but mostly for activists, pro-Palestinian activists and Palestinians and Arab who are living there. But outside of the community, only when I started doing the English one. So.
When you, yeah.
Can I add something to that? I have to say about this song specifically, because you said about like, are people hearing, and we're trying to like get people to understand. And I think, well, Dam has been doing political and like feminist songs since they started, yeah. And I think what I really love about this song, it's in a different approach, because you have different approaches to talk about anything. And I think what I get as comments from people all around the world, what they relate to is this song here is not trying to get sympathy from anyone. This song here is not trying to like beg anyone for sympathy or beg anyone to understand. This song here are people that had enough of having to explain themselves all the time. As Palestinians, as Palestinian 48 holding Israeli ID, as a woman, as men and that are feminists, we're always explaining ourselves. We're always put in a space, in a place that we have to explain, and that we have to tell people why they should see us as humans and why they should sympathize with us. And what I love about this is a song that had enough. Like this here, I'm not trying to like nicely have someone relate to me. Here is like, I'm taking control. You can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. This is who I am. Take your eyes off of me. If you don't want to listen, I'm not gonna push you into it. I'm not gonna beg you for anything. And this is how it is. And this is what I really love about that, because it's like taking control with all the pain, with all the sadness, with everything involved in it, because you reach a point you're like, khalas, you can't keep explaining. And we see that all the time. Like we're always kind of begging for sympathy and begging to like people to see us as humans. And yeah.
And I think that especially now, I think that the world, especially the Western world, needs to do a lot of songs to explain himself and to prove that they still to prove that they still have humanity. We are done explaining. I think the world owes us a lot.
And you can see that now, especially
I
now.
want to see songs from the world explaining their position.
And you can see it a lot now with the war going on.
I remember, sorry, when I toured with Junction, the movie, and I had this interview. I can't remember, was it CNN or Fox in the US? And the host, she started telling a lot of good things about the movie, and it's humanizing the Palestinians. It's like, and this is what I answered back then. I said, if people are not seeing us as humans, then go check the fucking doctor. Go check something wrong with your eyes. It's not my fucking problem. So I think, as I said, the world owes us a lot of explanations to do. So.
And you can see that a lot in the war going on now. We're like practically begging people to understand why it's not okay to kill us and to occupy us, you know? And yeah, so like Tamer said, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I don't think we should be the ones that are always explaining and begging for recognition.
Yeah. It's like instead of you getting them to understand, it's like, please explain yourself instead.
I can offer my ears to I always open to listen, but
You
ايه انا بس عشاني ماسك الميكروفون في مسؤولية فبقولها مرات فاهم انت.
Tamer, you mentioned Berlin.
As an example, yeah.
No.
Because
It's a good example, and I'll even suggest that it's a very significant example, because like if you look at what's happening in Berlin and the way the German government is legislating, like extremely anti-Palestinian rules and laws, almost making it like illegal to carry a flag, which is insane. How does that make you feel as a touring act that goes to places like that? Are you even more motivated to go and show up for the community, or are you like, fuck this place, I don't need it?
I did shows in Germany, in Berlin. I toured Germany, I think, around March, I think. And then I came back with them, right? We did a show also in where? Berlin? لا ونعملنا بمانوفر. لا مالك هلا Hanover, yeah. Tala, it's a different situation. Now I'm in the position where I'm not performing. You know, we were supposed to perform here on the big stage. I think Saturday or I can't remember. And we decided, so it's not performing there or there. It's not performing at all. That's why we decided to come and just talk. And we really appreciate the festival that was very open-minded and helped us to find our way to pronounce ourselves. But the reason we don't even think of performances, not even in Berlin, even where we live, I think that we are in a mode of mourning, M-O-U-R, and it's even if I wanted to do that professionally and technically, something with my body is not cooperating because I'm very. So I don't know what the future is holding, but for now it's no music, yani.
I want to play Overdose, and I'll tell you what. First of all, the video is great, the song is great, but before we even play it, I want to say why I definitely wanted to talk about it. Was because I was looking through the credits, and it's co-produced by two people. One name I didn't recognize, and the other one's Brian Eno, which is insane to me. If you don't know who Brian Eno is, he's a giant in the world of music.
He's a scientist. He's a music
Yeah,
scientist.
he is
and he did the first two albums of Coldplay, if I'm not wrong.
He is a giant. And so when I saw that name, I was like, يمكن في حدا تاني اسمه Brian Eno بفلسطين.
No, that's the guy. That's the guy.
I looked him up. I was like,
it's him, and the other one's called Itamar Ziegler.
Okay, who is Israeli.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to understand the network of Israeli musicians and creatives who are willing to stand on the right side of history and willing to work with you and support, including people like Brian Eno, who's not Israeli. So I want to understand a little bit about that. So I'll have you think about this while we listen to the song.
مسكت ايدي قلت لي ما في اجمل من عيني حتكون معاي للنهاية ما حد بالدنيا غيري مسكت ايديك قلت لك ما في اجمل من عينيك اسمح لرسم دايرة حوالي وما حد يفوتها غيري
معاك الحياة واسعة بس بلاقي سريرة وصعب بالذات اليوم ناقصني نوم overdose أنا عندي overdose عندي overdose معاك الحياة واسعة بس بلاقي سريرة وصعب بالذات اليوم بديش لوم عندي overdose أنا عندي overdose overdose
أنا طفي التلفون مان داخلي على الزون مان تحتي ترابيك فوقي كواكب وكم من درون مان
شفت اللوم على التستوستيرون مين عم يحكيني انت ولا الهرمون رجال من المريخ نساء من الزهرة المهم الصلحة تكون في أوضة النوم مش توتالوس بس طبعا عندي ضربتي مش مجبورة اتحمل نهفتي اذا انا بنسى اهدي وردة لوردتي لا هي تهدي نرجس لنرجسي
مسكت ايدي قلت لي ما في اجمل من عيني حتكون معاي للنهاية ما حد بالدنيا غيري مسكت ايدي قلت لك ما في اجمل من عينيك اسمح لي ارسم دايرة حوالي وما حد يفوتها غيري
عندي overdose أنا عندي overdose عندي overdose overdose عندي overdose
انا طفي التلفون مان دخلي على الزون مان تحت ترابي فوقي كواكب وكم من درون مان
جدي بدي اكو
Okay. I'm gonna stop here. Tamer, let's start with you. First of all, how fun is it to listen to this song? How do you
We
feel?
knew that. We did. Have you seen? Have you watched Mo on Netflix? So the ending scene with the credits, it's this remix. We recorded it in English again with the same hook, and I think we featured Brother Ali. There was a feature of Brother Ali, so that's the end. So that kind of renew that song and the feeling to the song because I love that song. It didn't kick because it's very experimental with the sound, but I really love that song because it's about relationships.
But I want to understand about the collaborators. How does that type of collaboration even start? Like, how do you get Brian Eno to produce a track for you?
There is our third member Mahmoud, who's not here. He created something called the Palestinian PMX. Yeah, where he brings all kind of people from the industry to Palestine and Palestinian artists perform. And then a lot of people sign deals. This guy signed with Universal. So in one of the times he brought Brian Eno.
Wait, what is it called? The
Palestinian PMX.
PMX. Okay, cool.
Palestine Music Expo. Yeah.
Oh,
Palestine
amazing.
Music PMX, not Palestinian PMX. Oh, صح.
So it happens in Ramallah. It used to. It happens in Ramallah, and like every
Yes,
year
we met.
comes like 60, 70 delegates from all the music industry worldwide.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is amazing. And
Wow.
there's always like it's 3 days usually, and many different Palestinian artists perform.
So Brian was there, and we exchanged contacts. And just a month after, I had a solo show without them in I think Rich Mix London, and I invited him, and he showed. He showed to the show, and then he invited me the day after to his house. We ate salami, and I was just thinking of how can I ask him for a production because I love his sounds. How do I lay it? How do I ask for it? Because I reached a lot of points. My talent got me to meet very interesting people, but I don't have the business skills to elevate them. Like, I swear to God, you can see me in New York getting drunk with Sean Penn and Woody Harrelson for 2 hours, 3 hours. Yeah, a different guy would have been in their movie. I just don't know how to elevate things.
I was going to say they wouldn't be good at producing tracks, but
So and then he just laid it, and he's like, "Hey, bro, I gave you this. I want to give you this, and it's a hard drive." And he's like, "There's a lot of sounds, stems." He prepared them all night, like stems, sounds. I'm not. It's like stems, sounds. Fuck with them the way you want, and don't even mention me. I was like, why would I not mention
yeah,
you?
exactly. You're like,
That's
I'm going to
the-
mention you.
And then I got back home and I showed it. And when we started working for Dam's album, and Itamar was one of the guys who's like, Itamar, did you want to, you produced all of the album, let's hear different sounds. And then we opened them, and and Itamar was like, dude, gave you the snare even alone. So he started taking sounds, and that's the thing. That's the reason. Itamar added the guitars and added. It sounds way different than what Brian gave us. Itamar did most of the job, but it started from the sounds.
Yeah, but the bass and the snare and
The raw
dirty-
materials.
the
Yeah.
sound. Yeah, it's Brian.
Talk to me about Itamar. Okay, so my narrow, shallow understanding of what it is to be a creative Palestinian in 48 is informed by my lack of understanding. And when I saw this guy's name, I was like, is there a huge creative community of Israelis who are fighting for Palestinian freedom
We
with
have a
their
name
work?
for it. We have a name for it. Every time people try to say coexistence, we don't. We have a name. We call it co-resistance. And in this case, it was Itamar. But also, if you go to the movie, it's called Junction 48. It was Udi Aloni and Orem Moverman. People who are always, as you said, they're very intellectual, super talented, and I compare them to the white people who marched with Martin, and to the white people who fought against what was happening in South Africa, or men who are standing for the hashtag Me Too. I can find a lot of examples, and that proves as well that it's not about race; it's about justice. That proves the point that our music is it's seeking for humanity in a way. So yeah, we don't judge people by their race. If you have pure heart and you see people equal, then
And
jump in.
understanding and like being
And
able
you gotta have a
to,
dope ass sound. You cannot.
Yeah, and they are rare. You asked if there's like a huge no, there's
And
not
you can be
at all.
superhuman, and your productions are not good. You will not be part of the ship. You need to have a dope sound as well, creative wise, because that's what.
Okay, let's listen to one more. Or actually, there's two more, but
Which one
let's
now?
listen to also off the last album.
وملياردات الدولارات عشان نعيش في شتات وملياردات الدولارات عشان نعيش في شتات مين إرهابي كلفتنا يا دوب قرشين غنوها في اللتفة دمشق بعين الحلوين وملياردات الدولارات عشان نعيش في شتات وملياردات الدولارات عشان نعيش في شتات
لا نبي في قومها لا تقاوم بتفوت محاكم ما حد حيستقبلك في جرام بيحذفوك في جرام الطماطم
مواطن ومغلوب عمري
يا ساتر
بغني والاستاد مطفي افيون الشعوب قرض البنوك اسكر ديون ولا حارب لارضي
في الشتا بيزلع هالبلد كله تطيز على هالبلد فريز خريف يا ولد
فلش البلد جدد البلد حتلن البلد كسر طابوهات لتحسمس على البلد كشف على البلد شلح البلد سبرينج از كامينج فشمس البلد
ابو تريكة ممنوع
اشرب طيار مجروح
فقول لي يا ولد
مين يكنس البلد وملياردات الدولارات عشان نعيش في شتات وملياردات الدولارات عشان نعيش في شتات مين إرهابي كلفتنا يا دوب قرشين غنوها في اللتفة دمشق بعين الحلوين وملياردات الدولارات عشان نعيش في شتات وملياردات الدولارات عشان نعيش.
With this song, I feel like. Are you ever trying to make party records?
Can I? I'm gonna say something.
Yeah.
That's gonna lead you to the question. I hate that song, and I hate them for that song.
This song?
This song, I hate them for that song. I remember the fights that we used to have.
I like how you're removing yourself. Damn is now all of a sudden is somebody else.
Definitely.
No, yeah, I in this song I disconnect. I'll explain why. Because when we heard all the beats, yeah, it was this one and Imtan Jawzak Yamma, and I won on the argument on Imtan Jawzak Yamma, where I convinced them to do it commercially. So they didn't allow me to do this one commercially, and I was like, guys, this song. First of all, I think I came up with the hook like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, and I sent it, and they fell in love with it, and I immediately regret. It's like, no.
So many bad decisions at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, it was me and a friend of mine, Johnny Walker, his name, I think. Yeah, we always make decisions together. We always. So this song had an amazing potential of being a banger like Imtan Jawzak Yamma if we attached the catchy lyrics on them. But it took a protest way. I was like, Joel, it could have been for me, it was supposed to be another club banger.
It's a remix, baby.
For me, it had so much potential.
I have to say that hearing this now, like I don't think I've ever connected so much to this song like I do at the moment. Yeah, especially the first line.
I like the lyrics
first
on a
part.
different beat. I don't
Wait,
mind.
hold on. Don't cut her off. Why do you like the song now more than ever?
It's not that I like it more, it's that I relate to it
Okay,
more.
so why do you
I
relate to it now more than
because
ever?
of everything that is going on and because of like the reality that we're living in at the moment, and especially like the first, I just like something popped now with my verse in the beginning. لنبي في قومها بدك تقاوم بتفوت محاكم. Like this is literally what we are living through at the moment. And things are so complicated, and then ملياردات الدولارات عشان نعيش بشتات. I don't think we need to explain it. So I think, yeah, like I've never related to this song as much as I do at the moment.
I must say, this is one of my favorite songs.
Damn it, it's a banger.
Now
You made me
you
look
heard the
bad.
clapping.
Now, people
now
are
you wanna
clapping.
take
It's a
part.
banger.
No, I love it, and I think like I understand completely what Tamer is saying, but I really do love the song so much.
I think it's a banger. All right. I want to end with sort of a little bit about the next generation. And insofar as you grew up listening to Damn, there are, generations of people, including a little kid who I think a lot of people know. Let's watch it, and then we'll talk a little bit about the legacy of what you do and what so many people, including some people in this room, do.
There was a tank attack. There was a gas attack. Never a heart attack. Because the beat never goes on. The beat never goes. The streets never goes. Middle East never goes. The beat never goes on.
I'm a little Abu Antar, little Black Panther, على little Hamza, little Biggie, little Pac, عطوقا فتوى, Malcolm in the middle, East, Gaza.
Let the truth come, flow pure, some. I have a clean Dr. King, Abu Tanklan. Show your lyrics to bang bang, spitting three lingos, my lyrics to gang bang.
A1,
Mic check,
واحد one,
name two.
fight the occupation coming straight from the curfew.
Smack you like snares do.
Sick flight,
Bird flu.
stay true.
True.
No, we don't talk blank, we don't talk blank. We bring tires and it's harder than your gold drain. You wanna talk blank, cause I can talk blank. Like Tina Fey, we carry 30 rocks more than ball blank.
There was a tank attack. There was a gas attack. Never a heart attack. Because the beat never goes on.
The beat never goes.
The streets never goes.
Middle East
Never goes.
the beat
Never goes on. Maybe I'm an African. Let me rephrase it. I wasn't taken to a land, but my land was taken. Maybe native, let me erase it. Unsacred to dance naked, asking where the rain is.
Maybe I am nameless, faceless, even better, raceless. Maybe fish red. Ain't nothing but a street thing, baby. So you get down with it.
And for Palestinian, we're pronouncing it. So you down with it.
From the tunnels of Gaza, what's more on the ground than this?
Just for time, I want to turn it down a little bit. Tamer, walk me through how this song came to be.
This is one of the things where another rapper, if I beef with another rapper, he should use that line. MC Abdil killed you on your own shit.
Yeah.
He should use that line. Actually, it's an old song. It started with a line that I wrote from the tunnels of Gaza. What's more underground than this? And I have it laying. I'm not from Gaza. I don't know what to do with that line. It's just laying there. But I recorded it just as a home recording. Years after, Mina Hate, there's a page on Instagram called Mina Hate that brings a lot of good stuff. And they posted a video of a kid. I think he was rapping Changes.
He was rapping Changes, Tupac's
It was
Changes,
Changes,
and he was
right?
walking through the streets.
I was like, wow, that's dope. Where is he from?
He's like 10 years old.
Yeah, where is he from? Because the English is, you can hear the differences between the accents. You can clearly hear my accent compared to
He
him.
like very much clearly grew up on Tupac. They're
Yeah.
like pumping it into his veins.
And I'm listening to him. I was like, cool, where does he live now? It's like, he's from Gaza. I was like, yeah, but where does he live? He's from Gaza. I was like, search for that guy. I want him to have those lyrics that I wrote. The beat never goes off. So I searched for him, and I saw the blue follow back. He was following me, so I went to message him, and he was messaging me from before, and I never noticed it. So I immediately see, listen, I have a song, I have a few lines, I have this hook. I understood that he doesn't write, he still doesn't write, so people help him. I was like, don't worry, I got your lyrics. I'll record it and I'll send it to you, and you just da. And it's gonna be a bit long. Is that okay? Is that okay if the answer is a bit long? Is that okay?
Take as long as you want.
Cool. So
I thought you meant his verse. I was like, his verse is a perfect length.
No. So I went to the studio with in my head with the title "The Beat Never Goes Off," and I wanted the word "off" to be a wordplay with our Arabic. Yeah, but off, you know, when we say off. So that's why I asked Noel Kharman to come and to do off, and I wanted to go "The beat never goes off," like sample her. So we went to. I'm from Lydda. He's from Gaza. We live like 35 minutes away from each other, but we can never meet. So we spent 5-6 hours in the studio trying to find the right sad vibe, because it's a sad situation, and it didn't work. 6-7 hours in the studio, like nothing. And so I grabbed it and I was like, let's try off, yeah, but off, yeah, but off. That's me, the sound. It's not a sample. So the producer, Philippe Halloun, pressed like, this is it. Let's sample this one. And it sounded too energetic. I was like, no, this is too energetic, too positive. And it's like, dude, fuck the political situation. Fuck whatever is happening. I guess your energy is in the right place. So we went with that. And I went bragging for 3-4 months that me, a guy from Lydda and a guy from Gaza, and a kid from Gaza created an energetic, positive song, a banger in a way. And then when we shot the video, and suddenly they put him on the wall, I understood. I cried. I understood that it's a sad song anyway. So she made me make it short. It's a sad song. So this is how it happens. And it was very, very hard to shoot it. Because the idea was I shoot in Lydda, he shoot in Gaza, then we split the screen. But the director, Michel Zananiri, was like, the wall is splitting you. Why would we split the screen as well? We need to find a way to and that was his creative way to do it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Maysa, Tamer, يعطيكم ألف عافية for your work, for you being here. It's a huge pleasure to have you both here. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You can follow both of them on Instagram. You should follow Dam as well. I hope that this episode will come out on the Afikra Quarter Tones podcast as well. If you don't already subscribe and follow us, you should. Love you guys so much. Thank you.
Can I just say one last thing? I just want to share that this is a tough time, and for me personally, it's very weird to be here. It's very weird to be here, and it's very weird to like talk about things like nothing is going on. We are very limited, sadly, and I just ask for everyone here to please keep posted on whatever is going on, and please keep on sharing and do what we cannot do at the moment. And yes, keep talking about this. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
And that answered your first question, why she is the face of Dam. So shukran.